In every application we have to deal with these strings, and we cannot use the strings directly in the plain form. We have to format them. In this video we will talk about what are the different ways to format a string in C# programming language. We are learning about C#, but in all the frameworks of .NET where you are using C#, all these concepts will be applicable. Let's understand how the formatting will work. Before learning about the concept of formatting, first let's understand what exactly is the formatting. So formatting is basically a way to write the information in a proper manner. What does it mean? For example, here I am displaying this hello world. This is a plain hard-coded string. We don't have a plain and fixed hard-coded string always. In some scenarios, we might get this value at the runtime. So instead of displaying this world, sometime I might need to display the name of the user. In some cases, I need to display something else, for example, the name of the country, the name of the city, etc. If I talk about some more examples, we always have date time in our system, but everyone choose the formatting of date time based on their need. So formatting of a string matters a lot for the users. Let's understand everything with a very basic example. In this formatting concept, first I will start with the concatenation. Concatenation means combining two strings together. So here, for example, I'm having this string and let's put str1. You can give any meaningful name over here, or just for the better readability, if I'm writing first name, and in this first name I can define my name like this, and I also have one more variable. Let's put the last name, and here I'm writing my last name. Now let's assume that I need to display a full name in this console window. How to do that? First way is that I can combine both of them over here in a third variable. So let's say here I'm having this first, and let's define full name, and in this full name I can combine both of them. So what I can do is first name plus last name, and over here I can simply put this full name. What we are doing now, let's recap quickly. We are having two variables. This is the first variable, this is the second variable, and what we are doing, we are just adding both of them. Adding means we are not doing the sum over here, we are just combining them. This operation is called as concatenation. We are doing Nitish Kaushik. Let's see what is the output. Here on the output screen you can see I'm having both the text Nitish Kaushik, and remember there is no space over here. What if I want to put one space over here? Just like we have done this plus symbol, in the same way I can add more than one plus as well over here. So for example, here I'm writing one more plus, and in between both these plus I am pushing one more string. So this is going to be an empty string, and in that empty string I will have only one single space. So what we are doing now, we are having this first string which is Nitish, then we are combining it with this space, and then we are having this last name. So what we will get now, we will get basically Nitish space Kaushik in the output. Let's run it again quickly. This time you can see we are having this space over here, and it is always a best practice to format your code. In Visual Studio you can simply press Ctrl KD to format it, and if you are using Visual Studio Code, then you can right click and choose the format option. This is a very simplest example, right? You can also do all these operations directly in this right line method. So I'm just gonna remove it. Let's just comment it, and here first let's do with the hard-coded values. So what I will do is, this is my first name, and if I put the last name, then I will get this output on this screen. Here is the output, right? If I want to put any space, then I can simply copy the code from this place and just put it over here. So what I'm having now, Nitish plus this space, and this is the Kaushik. Let's run it. This is the output. So instead of using this hard-coded value, we can also use the first name and the last name over here. Let's run this application again. See, everything is working fine. Now there is one more very important concept, and over here I'm going to define a string, or let's say it is var1, and in this var1 I will assign this 2 value. Let's add one more. So this is var2, and I'm gonna use this 3 over here. If I will display both these values over here in this console or right line, so here I'm writing var1 plus var2. What should be the output? Remember, these are some values which is 2 and 3. Let's run this application and see what is the output. This time you will notice the output is 23. If you are thinking why the output is not 5, this is because we are having a string, and if you are talking about the strings, then it will not work like the normal mathematical operations. For strings, this plus symbol works with the concatenation method. Now what will happen if I'm having one integer value and another is this string value? So what I'm having now, I'm having this string var1 and I'm having this integer var2, and over here on this console.write line I'm having this var1 plus var2. What will be the output in this case? Let's run it. Still you can notice we are having this 23 output. Now let's put the first one as well as an integer. So what I'm having is, I'm having this var1 2 and this var2 is also 3. This time you can notice we are getting the output as 5. It means if you are having both the values in form of numeric, then this mathematical operation works, but if any one of them is an string, then in that case the normal mathematical operation will not work and we will always combine them. So this is a very basic concept. To combine multiple strings, there is one more way in C# programming language, and it is, for example, I'm having this again full name, and in this full name I can use some method from this string class, and here I'm using this String.Concat. In the concat I can pass both the values. So what is the benefit? The benefit is that I'm passing both the values over here and I'm not using that plus symbol. So if I'll display this value in this console.write line, what would be the output? The output is going to be Nitish Kaushik, just like you are getting in the previous operation. So if I want to get some space as well over here, then I can also pass one more string over here, right? Let's just run this application and see what is the output this time. This time we are getting this space over here. What is the benefit of this String.Concat? It is much more readable as compared to the previous operation. In the previous one we were using this plus symbol multiple times, but here we have removed that plus symbol and we are simply passing all these strings just by separating them by the comma. Let's see what is available in this method. And at this place you can notice there are multiple overloaded version of this concat method, right? Here we are having this params. It means we can pass any number of arguments over here in this concat method. If you are having less, then you can use these methods. For 3 this one would work, for 4 this one would work, but if you are having n number of strings, then this one will be used. So this is a simplest method, right? Now let's talk about one very important and very powerful method, which is String.Format. In this String.Format method, I can define my string by using the indexes, and I can also use some more formatting concepts. But first we will start with the basic one. So in the basic one, over here I have to use this string, and I can simply combine both the names as well, first name and last name. So let's say this is name and this is Kaushik, right? We are passing only the simplest string over here and it will work just like it was working earlier. There is no difference over here. We will get only this Nitish Kaushik in the output. Now let's understand, I want to get both these values by using the index. So the index always starts with the 0. So here in this curly bracket I can put 0 as the first index. And now what I'm doing is I'm formatting the values over here. Then put an space if you want the space. If you don't need the space, then you can remove it. And again in the curly bracket I'm putting 1 over here. Now what we are doing over here is we are telling this format method that there are two things that will come dynamically and you can get both of them from this same method. So here you have to put the comma, and after the comma you have to put your first argument. So the first argument is going to be this first name, and this is the value of the 0, right? We also have this 1. Let's put one more comma, and over here I can use this last name. So what we are doing, we are basically applying the formatting method, and this is how we are formatting this string. We are having these two things dynamically, and here we are using one space. Let's run this application this time. You can see we are getting a proper formatted output in this output window. Now let's assume that I want to display some hard-coded values as well over here, and I want to display full name is equals to first name then the last name. So here I'm doing full name is equals to, just treat this string as a normal one. You can format this string as per your need. If something is hard-coded, then you can put it as it is. If something is dynamic, then you have to use the indexes. So what I will get this time, this full time is hard-coded, this space is hard-coded, this equal symbol is also hard-coded, and this space is also hard-coded. Remember, everything in a string is a character, so this particular part is also a character. Now let's run this application. See, we are having this proper output on the console screen, and you can also interchange these places. For example, if I'm putting it before this 0, then what will happen? Let's run this application again. This time you can notice we are getting this last name value in the first place. This does not mean that it will start like it will replace the first value with the first variable. No, everything works based on the index. If you are having the value 0, then it will get the value from this place, which is the first one. If there is 1, then it will get the value from the second place. And you can put all these things anywhere in this string. So for example, if I want to put it in the beginning like this, just run this application, this will also work. Remember, we do not have any space in this index and the full name. That is why we are not having any space over here as well. Then we are having this everything as it is. Let's close it. Let's put it back over here. Now I want to add my age as well in this full name. So here I'm having, let's say it is int age is equals to, let's assume it is 10. I want to display the age also over here. So I want to do it like put a comma and age is equals to, here I can use the 2. We already have this 0, 1, and this time we have to put 2. Put the comma, and here I can use this age directly, right? Let's run this application. Here you can see we are getting this full name and then we are getting this age. If you are thinking that this age is a numeric number, how it is compatible with this string? This is because if you are using this String.Format method, then everything will be converted to the string by using the toString method. Ultimately, this age will be converted to this value by using the toString method. And there is one more interesting concept. You can use these values multiple times. So for example, here I'm using this multiple times, 3 times. So I will get the value 3 times on the output window. Here you can see I'm getting the value 3 times. So everything depends on you how you want to format these values. Now let's talk about one more very important concept. Over here we are having this first value and the last value as a separate variable, and we are using both of them at this place. But it is not always the case that you will get the values in form of variables. There are cases where you will get the values in form of tuples and objects as well. So first I will start with the tuple. Tuple is also a concept that is available in C# programming language, and here I'm writing var name, and after the name I'm using this parenthesis, and here I'm defining first name is equals to this Nitish, and I will define this last name as well. The last name is going to be Kaushik, right? Now I can access both these values by using this name dot property. So here I can put this name dot first name. Let's try with this one only. So what I'm doing is I'm combining this tuple, this variable, and this integer value. Let's run it. You can see everything is working as expected over here. You can also get the value of this last name from this name tuple, name dot last name, and it will work as expected. In the same way, you can also have an object. An object is something that can have multiple properties, and just like this tuple, that object will also have multiple parameters over here, and you can use all of them over here. Now let's understand about one more very important formatting concept. Now let's just remove all these things from this place, right? And here I want to declare some more values. So here I'm having this, let's say decimal, and in this decimal I'm having amount, and this amount is something, let's say it is 3456789.12345, and because in the decimal we have to use this m, so I'm putting this m over here. Now I want to format this amount properly. How can I do that? I can directly use this String.Format method, and in this String.Format method what I can do is I can use this amount. So first I have to use this 0, and over here put a comma and pass this amount variable like this. If I run this application, I will get the exact output on the console screen. Here we have. Now what if I want to format this string? So I can format it by using this C, and let's say we are putting this 4 at this place. Let's run this application. This time you will notice that we are getting a formatted string at this place. There is a proper list of all the formatting based on the type in C# programming language, and you can use all of them over here. Let's deal with some different data type this time. So I'm gonna just remove this amount, and this time I will use one date time. Give any meaningful name, and this is what I'm having. This date time is also a type in C# programming language, and by using this datetime.now I can get the current date from my system. I want to format this date time, but before that I want to display it as it is. So I'm having this 0 and let's just use this date time. Let's run this application. And this is the date time that I'm having. You can compare this date time with my system date time as well. So this is 10/6/2023, 10/6/2023, and this is the exact time, 12:57 p.m. 12:57, and this is the second because I'm not displaying the second over here in my system. That is why I'm not having it over here. Now I want to display this particular format. How to do that? Over here, if I'm using only this D, then I will get only the date part from this date time. See, I'm having only the date part, and you already know that we can use this index multiple times. So if I want to display the time as well, so what I'm doing is I'm using this date time, and I'm using this first index to display the date, and I'm using this second one to display the time. Let's see how it goes. You can see I'm getting this date and this is the time. Here I'm writing this date. I can format it as per my need and put a comma. Time is equals to over here. I believe you got the concept. We are getting this proper time over here. You can also format it in different ways. For example, here I'm having this y. Let's run this application. And this time you will notice we are only getting this year from this date. So again, there are different formatting concepts in C# programming language, and you can read all of them based on the different data type. Because we are dealing with this date time, that is why we are having this y. Now let's talk about one new concept that was added in recent C# version, and this concept is called as string interpolation. In the concept of this string interpolation, you do not have to use this string.format. Rather, you can simply use one dollar symbol over here, and you can pass all these values directly. What is the meaning of directly? So first, let's start with the basic one. To understand the concept of this string interpolation, let's create two more variables over here. So what I'm having is a string. Let's say it is first name. Now, as per the concept of this interpolation, we do not have to use the index as well. What I'm having is a string full name. I have to start my string with this dollar symbol, then use this string double quotes. Right now, over here I can use the dynamic values directly in the curly bracket. If you will put the curly bracket, then you can notice I can use the C# types directly over here. So I'm having this first name like this, put this space, and here I'm writing this last name. So how it is working? Whatever we are writing inside this curly bracket, that part is dynamic. Other than that, everything is hard coded. It means this space is hard coded over here, but this again value is a dynamic part, right? Let's run this application. Before that, we have to display it in the console.writeLine. Let's run it again. Here you can notice that we are getting the output as it is. What is the benefit? The benefit is that we are not using that 0 and 1, and we are not passing all these values after putting the comma. That was again a confusing part. Here everything is readable. Just assume that you are having a very large string, and in that large string, if you are using that 0 and 1 multiple times, then it is not much readable. But now you can use this first name and last name. It means all the values dynamically directly inside your string, and you can also apply all the methods over here. Here you can notice I'm getting all the methods from this string. So if I'm putting this substring 2, it means directly I'm getting the substring from this first name. Let's run this application and see I'm getting this TISH, right? What if you want to add more hard-coded values over here? So here I'm writing my first name is, this part is dynamic, and the last name is. So what I'm having is, this is a proper readable values. This is my first name is first name, this part is dynamic, and the last name is this last name. Let's run it. We are getting the proper output over here. This is how you can work with the interpolation in C# programming language. And remember, all those methods that you are using to format the values, those are also applicable over here. It means if you are using the date time, let's use the date time as well over here, just for one example. And the time is, again I can use this curly bracket, and over here I'm using this date time, and let's just use that T. So let's run this application again. This time you can notice that we are getting this time as well. And if you remember, what is the benefit? The benefit is that we are getting some intelligence as well. So we can use this F, we can use this capital F as well. Let's see what is the output this time. The output is different. We are getting this proper date time value over here, right? So this is how you can format as per your need, and the benefit is you are getting all the power of this Visual Studio as well, right? This GD will return the day of the date. It is the 10th, and that's the 10 over here. This is how you can deal with the strings interpolation in C# programming language. I hope after watching this video, the concept of string formatting is clear. And if I talk about the difference in between this string.format and in this interpolation, the difference is that at the compile time, when you are using this string interpolation, this will be converted to the string.format method automatically. But there is one more way. If I'm using the plus value over here, let's say this is second. Now if I talk about this approach in the compile time, then it will be String.Concat, and inside that method we will have this String.Format, then comma the second string. That is all in this video. Make sure to share your feedback. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.